Law Talk with Nick Maruchak. Thanks to MKI Legal, your trusted employment and family lawyers.
I fought the law and the law won. I fought the law and the law won.
Nick Maruchak from MKI Legal joins us now. G'day, Nick.
Hello, Bowie.
The term vexatious often means either frivolous or not based in fact. Give us your definition of a vexatious litigant.
Yep, so we do have legislation in WA and also in the Commonwealth where we have something called the Vexatious Proceedings Restriction Act of 2002. Basically, if someone keeps starting really annoying, harassing court proceedings that don't have any substance, people can easily start court proceedings just to kind of get an unfair advantage in something, or to put pressure on other people, get them to spend money on lawyers and stuff like that. If you do that enough, then basically someone can apply to the court and get you declared as a vexatious litigant, and then basically that means you can't start any further court proceedings unless you get permission from the court. So every time you want to sue someone, you have to go to the court. The court has to look at it and go, look, is this legit or not? And then they allow it or disallow it. So that's something that we have laws to stop misuse of court proceedings.
Okay, thank you, Nick. If you'd like to speak to Nick Maruchak today, you can, 1333 882. Good morning, Aaron.
Hey guys, how are you, Belly? How are you, Nick?
Good, Aaron. Fire away, mate.
Nick, I've worked for my company for 10 years this month, about to get my long service. As much as about 9 of the 10 years, when I became the sole driver after the first year, I've been able to take a work car home. Halfway through last year, bigger companies come along to buy my company. They've gave us a spiel, told us they're going to be a great company. Nothing will change moving forward as far as your role is concerned, and anything that does change will be a positive change for you. They've got us to sign on. Now, 6 months later, at the back end of last year, going into this year, they've started to let me know that they actually don't let their drivers take home a company vehicle once I've signed on with them. Not that they let me know once I'd signed on, or not till after they've let me know this. And now at this point, they've sat me down for meetings and sent me letters saying they want my car back. I've sent them a letter saying, in reply, obviously saying that I don't agree with it at all, and I feel like they're trying to give me a pay cut without my consent, sort of thing, and which they will be. And now they've sort of put it in letter. They've come back and said, as of this Friday coming, they'll expect me to give my car back, and they don't want to reimburse me or help me with any sort of pay rise to afford a car.
Yeah, so that sounds, I'm sorry you're in that situation. I'll give you a high-level rundown. So when it comes to this issue, you have to really have a look at what's in the contract. So there are two ways that a car can be given to you. One is there's an express right in the contract that says you're entitled to the car. It's unlikely to be that clear in the contract, but if you have that, you can probably hold on to the car. But most of the time, it's not in the contract, and it's in something called a company policy. Company policies can be changed at the whim of a company's decision from time to time, and so you have to have a look at the policies. You have to have a look at the contracts. But I'm guessing there might be something in there that says this car is discretionary. They can, or if it's in the policy, they can change it. So you just have to be very careful with that, because if the company does have the right to demand the car back and you don't do it, then you can get fired for failing to follow a lawful instruction. That sometimes, say, if an employer tells you to do something and you don't follow it, then you can be dismissed for that. And sometimes, if you do it deliberately, it can be summary dismissal, which means terminated without notice. So I just have, my gut is telling me that there is a risk that if you
don't comply,
they could justify dismissal. So you have to have really solid grounds to say you do have the right. Do you know if it's in the contract or anything like that, Aaron?
I do think after they've got me to sign on, they've then gone and saying that it was only a verbal agreement between me and my old management.
Oh yeah.
But as far as I definitely am going to give the car back. I've got no. Mm-hmm. I'm definitely not going to try and hold on to their car. I'm definitely not that silly. But is it as far as are they able to just take my car and sort of knowingly that I only earn $30 an hour and I can't afford a car and haven't run one for nearly 10 years? Are they able to just take that off me and sort of leave me at home with sort of no safe way to get to work and without no pay bump? Is that all on board as well?
Look, if they have the right to take the car, then it would be on board. But I'll just say this, that if you do have a contractual right to keep the car, and they've breached it, then you can sue them, right? So you can take action in the magistrate's court, or or potentially sometimes even in the Federal Circuit Court. So you can commence a claim if you have a contractual right, strong contractual right to it. If it's not a contractual right, something less, and a policy, then they can just take it off.
And if it's a verbal, it's going to be a problem, isn't it? Aaron, that's no good, mate. I'm sorry to hear that. I don't think we're offering you a lot of hope here.
Yeah, that doesn't sound too good, Billy.
Yeah, it doesn't. All right, mate. Good
One
luck with
option,
it.
not having a car or losing your job, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So I'm sorry, mate. Sorry to hear that. It does happen with changes of ownership. Believe me, 19 minutes to 11. G'day, Melissa. Hello, Melissa. Can you hear us?
Yes, hi.
Oh, yeah. Fire away.
I just have a question about probate. So, the executor of the will, is there, can they hold out on paying you? You know what I mean? There's my friend, are you there?
Yeah, we got you, mate. Keep going.
Yeah, so my friend's going through probate and still hasn't got it, and I'm going through probate as well, and it's all been approved. And is there any way the executor of the will can hold out on pay or spend some of that money
The short answer
that you're entitled to?
The short answer is no. The executor has to follow the terms of the will, and they obviously have to give them a reasonable period of time to get all the estate affairs in order. Normally that's known as the executor's year. That takes about 12 months in most cases to get everything organised. So the executor will have to go collect the money, pay off the deceased debts, and then pay off the taxes, and whatever thing that's left over, it distributes to the beneficiaries according to the terms of the will. And if the executor is not doing that, then you would obviously write to them and try and resolve that amicably. But if it doesn't work, then you can actually apply to the Supreme Court to have the executor removed. That is the process.
Is there a statute? Is there a time limitation? What's a reasonable time to pay out?
Well, I'd say the executor's year, rule of thumb, 12 months, right? 12 months from when the deceased dies to go through and administer the estate. So before they can pay out, they have to make sure that all the debts are cleared, all the assets have come in, and there's nothing left to do. Sometimes an executor can make it like an interim distribution before the estate is finalised, but you just have to be careful because if the executor makes a distribution, it turns out, there's no money left to pay debtors, then or creditors, then they could be personally liable. So
how long's it been for you, Melissa?
8 months or something, but also for my friend, and she's worried because they're driving around in like fancy cars, and she's wondering where are they able to spend the money? You know what I mean?
No.
Like her inheritance?
No. I know that's not the case. That's a hard no, isn't it?
Very strong no. It's basically the executor, that's something called a fiduciary duty, right? It's a position of trust. So they have to act in the best interest of the estate, and they have to have a duty of care to the beneficiaries as well. So you should ask for the executor to produce accounts and to give, so there is also a process in the Supreme Court. It's called, you apply to the Supreme Court and you request for an order for the executor to pass accounts. And this involves the executor presenting a detailed financial report and records on where the money went. So that's a process you can go through the court as well. Before you do that, you probably want to just ask informally, hey, just give me a spreadsheet and receipts of everything you spent the money on. And if it turns out the executor has been pocketing the money or spending money on stuff they shouldn't and for their own personal benefit, then they would be removed and the...
I've never heard of that before, though. It'd be unusual, wouldn't it?
Well, it is unusual, but, a lot of fraudsters around and I'm sure it's happened in the past, but yeah, it would be unusual.
Yep. Melissa, keep us posted as to how you go. 8 months may or may not be within that reasonable time frame, but keep us posted how you go, Melissa. You got our number, and if it keeps ticking along, we'll seek Nick on them. Thanks for your call today. Nick Maruchak's here from MKI Legal. Give him a call. It's 11:15, 133 882. Happy to take your calls today. Any of your law questions with Nick Maruchak. This is Perth Today. I'm Simon Beaumont. 12 minutes to 11 o'clock. Nick Maruchak's here from MKI Legal. Get your calls in, 133 882 if you'd like to. And if you fight the law will probably win. Nick Maruchak continues. You wanted to talk to us today about the Australian Financial Complaints Authority, AFCA.
Yep.
It's a reasonably new outfit, isn't it?
Yep.
2018.
Yep, so it's been around since 2018. It was actually established a little bit before the Royal Commission report came out. So it's a free avenue for consumers and small businesses. So if a small business has less than 100 employees, it's classified as a small business, to make a complaint against financial firms. So this includes like banks, insurers, debt collection, credit reporting agencies that have your credit record on file, and also like brokers such as financial advisors and mortgage brokers. So so AFCA is a really great way. So if you're having an issue with a bank, right? So say if you made an application, you got a loan with a bank, you can't quite handle it, so you make a hardship application, and a hardship application forces the bank to take into account your circumstances, so they can maybe restructure the loan or give you more breathing room. And if they don't consider that properly, that's one avenue you can go. You can go to AFCA. If there's been delays in processing, say a refund or something like that, or if they've overcharged you without notifying you properly. These are some different things regarding banks, right? There's also insurance companies to say if you make a claim and they deny your policy, that's another example. If you've been misled by a financial institution or an advisor, superannuation, if you make an application to hardship to get your super early and they reject that. So there's all these kind of stuff, right? It's just limited to financial advisors, financial firms. And so you initially try and make an internal complaint, and then if that doesn't work, you go to AFCA, and AFCA can potentially, there's no cost risk to you, right? So if you lose, you don't have to pay the legal costs. And also, banks and financial firms don't really like going to AFCA because my understanding is they have to pay the cost of AFCA, right? So there's a fee they have to pay to have every complaint dealt with.
So it's mainly focused on consumers and small businesses, isn't it? Fair, free, independent dispute resolution for financial complaints, which we get a lot of on this segment, don't we?
Yep. So, absolutely. So a lot of people having issues with banks, insurers, even debt collecting agencies, and they're not following the proper process. So it's a really good outfit. They have, I think they get tons of complaints every year. They do, and they have a really good limit as well. You can make complaints over if general claims over up to $1 million. So it's not. So it is. Definitely consider it. And sometimes like banks and these would kind of don't like going there, so they might just give you out, even if you haven't got the strongest claim, they might just give you $1,000 or $500. Yeah, okay. Just to kind of resolve it. So I'm not saying people should go to AFCA vexatiously, like the vexatious litigants we talked about, but it's definitely something to consider, and it does really well. You don't always win. AFCA will make a fair decision. They'll look at, but if the bank is in the wrong or the insurance company is in the wrong, then that's the way to go. All right.
133 882 if you would like to give us a call today. During and family law is one of your remits, Nick. In family law, and when there is a divorce and a separation of the assets, and you're considering through your separation, superannuation is part of that process, isn't it?
Correct.
Superannuation is regarded as an asset and as a family asset between two people, isn't it?
That's right. So the laws have changed in the last year or so, where previously, let's say a couple of years ago, if you were in a de facto relationship, weren't married, superannuation couldn't be taken into account by the WA jurisdiction. But that's recently changed to allow the superannuation to be taken into account. So previously it was only married couples who could divide super, but now de facto couples can. And supers are divided. Say if you reach an agreement with your spouse and you go, okay, let's divide, everything like this. You would normally file consent orders with the court reviews it, and then something called a super split. So superannuation is actually transferred from one spouse's account to the other spouse's account. It doesn't. So remember, super goes from one super account to the other. It doesn't actually go to you until retirement.
It's not a realised cash asset. Yeah, no, well done. Dell's phoned in. Hi, Dell.
Yeah, g'day. How are you?
Yeah, good. You've used AFCA, have you?
Yeah, I did. So back in 2020, my wife and I were on the process of a world tour. We were on a cruise ship where the cruise was cancelled in Thailand, and we were sent back to quarantine on Rottnest. And at the time, the cruise company promised a full refund. However, they decided to list for bankruptcy. It was a UK-based tour company.
Yeah, right.
And I went through every avenue of trying through my insurance company to get refused. I chased up through my bank for failing to provide services, and which eventually led to me contacting AFCA. Luckily, I'd held on to all of the paperwork and everything that we'd been told and promised, and literally it was less than 28 days, my insurance company called and settled our outstanding claim in full, barring the excess. So we ended up retrieving almost $12,000 with the assistance of AFCA.
Good.
That is a great story, Dale. Yeah.
So helpful, hey, Del?
And
look, I mean, so I found them on the internet, as I think we find most things nowadays.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Made one call, spoke to one of the, the contact officers there, was given the information. I literally sent it off by text and good old facsimile, and it was just seamless. I mean, literally, I submitted the paperwork, and then I got a call from the insurance company. That was the only one contact other than sending the information through, so it was fantastic.
Yeah.
And
good on you, Del.
At that time, a lot of people were losing money, and it was fantastic to get the outcome. And I agree, the insurance companies probably don't like being referred.
Yep.
And quite quickly settled the claim
Settled
outside
up.
the normal processes.
Yeah, Del, well done, mate. Good testimonial for AFCA. Thank you for calling through today. That's a really good living example. Hi, Aaron.
Yeah, how you going? G'day, Nick.
G'day, mate.
Yeah, Bowie. Hey, I'm just ringing up regarding a accident my daughter had on her birthday party at a water park in Perth, and it was sort of at the end of the day, and I was not far from going home, and a couple of the kids were on a slide, and she went down and sort of snapped the front adult teeth in half, and knocked the other one as well. And since then, yeah, she's had to go for an operation, and now she's going to have a heap of ongoing dental care and stuff, and I don't know what to do yet. She's sort of getting around with, and it's affected all her other teeth as well. Looking at braces and things like that.
Wow.
So, Aaron, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, it was her birthday. She was just about to head home with her friends, and then my partner ended up being up at emergency till about 2 o'clock, and then went back the next day for a big operation.
Did you say she's an adult, Aaron? How old is she?
No, she's not. She's only 9 years old, but because it's her adult tooth.
Oh, yeah, adult tooth. Sorry, yeah. All right, let's. We're up against the clock a little bit here, mate. So I might get Nick to talk to you off air. But what first blush?
First blush is this. I reckon you call a personal injury lawyer, law firms, because this could be if they have a duty of care to provide a safe place for all the visitors, and if they breach that duty of care, a personal injury lawyer can help. And personal injury lawyers often work no win, no fee. So it's very worthwhile sitting down with someone, going, is there a potential case? If there is, they will lodge all the documents for you. They'll go through the case, and they're often paid by insurance companies as well. So it's pretty cost effective. So that's kind of the first thing I'll strongly recommend. And I can have a chat with Aaron and refer him to someone.
Yeah, all right.
I would take steps on that.
Yeah, stay there, mate. We'll get Nick to have a quick chat to you about some details there. But good luck with it, mate. That's awful. How long ago, Aaron?
Just a couple of weeks ago. I'm still away at work, so I work away, and it sort of all happened while I was away at work. Yeah,
all right, mate. Well, we're going to hook you and we'll hook you and Nick up after this, mate, and see if we can progress this a little bit. Nick, thank you for today.
Thank you, Bowie.
Thanks for talking to our listeners with your expertise and wisdom. Nick Maruchak from MKI Legal with Law Talk. Back in a sec. When we come back after 11 o'clock, Mick Collis.